Doing business in Argentina, formerly known as the Argentine Republic. In this presentation, we discuss the political, economic, socio-cultural, technological, environmental, and legal factors that influence the attractiveness of Argentina in the business world. At the end, we will wrap up the presentation with a brief SWOT analysis. But before we dive into the political aspects, let's first review the country's location. Argentina is located in southern South America and borders the South Atlantic Ocean. It is the second largest country in South America and is divided into 23 provinces. The population is close to 44 million, making it the 33rd largest country in the world. According to the United States Central Intelligence Agency, about one-third of the population lives in the capital city of Buenos Aires. In comparison, the land mass of Argentina is roughly about 3/10 the size of the United States. Now that we have gone over the basics, let's move on to political aspects.
Argentina's political system is built on the standards of a representative democracy dominated by a federal system. The federal government is divided into three branches: the executive branch led by the president, the legislative branch represented by the National Congress, and the judicial branch headed by the Supreme Court. It is ruled by its 1853 Constitution, which has been suspended and reformed many times. Since declaring independence, Argentina has experienced decades of political turmoil with struggles for power between military dictatorship and government rule. The current president, Mauricio Macri, is Argentina's 53rd president and assumed office in 2015. He's a political conservative and former mayor of Buenos Aires. Since taking office, he has moved to end the country's isolation from financial markets by settling part of its outstanding debt. Former President Barack Obama visited Argentina back in 2016 to improve relations between the two countries and relieve tensions related to trade and foreign investment. The U.S. will also assist Argentina with counterterrorism efforts, as there has always been an underlying threat of terrorism in Argentina. Freedom House classifies both Argentina and the United States as free countries. However, Argentina's score has always been lower than the United States, scoring a 2 out of 7. Numerous political parties have established a presence in Argentina throughout the years. The most dominant parties have been the Radical Civil Union, the Republican Party, and the Justicialist Party, also known as the Peronist Party, which was formed by Juan Perón, former military lieutenant and three-time president. Peronism is the dominant political brand with an influential and enduring legacy in Argentina politics. The Political Stability Index measures the likelihood that politically motivated violence and terrorism will destabilize the Argentine government. As you compare the United States and Argentina, you will find that violence and instability greatly undermine Argentina's political institutions, even as civil society united against military brutality. Protests are regular and well attended. Recently, hundreds of people protested outside Congress amid fears of censorship and media monopoly. Next, the government effectiveness measures the quality of public services, civil service, and the degree of independence from political pressures. Argentina's government scores much lower than the United States due to the intense and ongoing political pressure found in Argentine politics. Rule of law. The legal principle that law should govern a nation. As we look at the graph, rule of law is much weaker in Argentina than the United States due to inefficiencies and delays in the judicial system, extreme poverty and illness among the indigenous peoples, police misconduct, including torture and brutality, which is rarely punished, and drug-related violence. Finally, let's examine the ranking of the United States and Argentina on the Corruption Perception Index. Argentina's score depicts a country that is plagued with corruption. Scandals involving the government, embezzlement, acceptance of gifts from the head of companies, and bribery are just a few examples of the corruption occurring quite frequently in Argentine society. In closing, let's listen to President Macri and his plan to address the top issues facing Argentina.
Committed, Richard, to three things: zero poverty in Argentina, defeat drug trafficking, and improve the quality of our democratic system.
The economic context of Argentina. Argentina ranks relatively high on the Heritage Foundation's Economic Freedom Index for 2015 at 0.836. Several factors led to Argentina's economic crisis in 2001. First, the Argentine peso was tied to the dollar just prior to Brazil's devaluation of the real in 1999. This meant that foreign investors could buy more in Brazil than Argentina, leading to decreased foreign investments and exports. Second, borrowing and debt sent domestic interest rates up, and business credit became too expensive, leading to mass closures of companies. Third, privatization of the service sector in the 90s had already increased Argentina's unemployment and precipitated a recession years before the world crisis occurred. These three factors culminated in mass riots and government collapse in 2001. Argentina's economy is the second largest to Brazil in South America. The economic system is mixed with an economic freedom score of 43.8 and a freedom status of repressed. The Argentine peso is the national currency and has gradually devalued relative to the dollar due to high inflation levels from a post-crisis economy. The unemployment rate in Argentina was very high in the late 90s and early 2000s, but has slowly decreased with continued economic recovery after the recession. Trade in Argentina. Mercosur is the trade organization of South America. Argentina is one of the founding members, and there are currently 9 other member countries. Free trade area of the Americas consisted of failed negotiations that would have dramatically expanded NAFTA. Argentina was one of the countries leading the opposition. Top imports into Argentina consist of machinery, vehicles, and electronic equipment, while exports include animal feeds, vehicles, and cereals. The top 3 export partners by volume are Brazil at 18%, China at 9%, and the U.S. at 6%. The top 3 importers into Argentina are Brazil at 22%, China at 20%, and the U.S. at 13%. Argentina's foreign direct investment. Net inflows of FDI into Argentina are much lower than Brazil in the last 10 years. They dipped even lower in 2015 with the election and economic fears looming. Net outflow of FDI from Argentina remains steadily low as multinational enterprises are not as prevalent in the recovering economy. Inward stock into Argentina has remained low but steady in the last decade, while outward stock from Argentina is also low and steady, with very little fluctuations in the last decade.
Argentina's socio-cultural aspects. Both Argentina and the United States have experienced a decline in population growth over the past 15 years. However, Argentina's population growth declined at a slower rate than the United States. This is partly contributed to the developed countries having less children per family compared to previous years. The population pyramid divides Argentina's population by age and gender. Approximately 80% of the population is under the age of 55. Overall, there are more females than males. However, the population under 40 consists of a larger number of males to females. A switch occurs after the age of 40 since females tend to live longer than males. Breaking down ethnicities, majority of the population consists of whites who are of Spanish and Italian descent. The remainder of the population are mestizo, which are individuals of Amerindian origin. This is in large part due to the immigration of Europeans to Argentina. Many left their home countries in order to pursue a better life, while others wanted to escape ongoing conflicts in their home countries and to find jobs, especially in agriculture. The Spanish and Italian immigrants brought with them their religious beliefs, resulting in a large number of Argentinians identifying with the Roman Catholic religion. The Roman Catholic Church actually elected a cardinal from Argentina to be the new pope in 2013. On the other hand, people in the United States hold more of a variety of religious beliefs since the U.S. has experienced an influx of immigrants from all over the world. The most widely spoken language in Argentina is Spanish, while most people in the United States speak English. However, there are numerous spoken languages in both countries due to the immigration from different countries to the Americas. Education in Argentina has undergone some changes over the past few years. Based on the PISA scores from 2009 and 2015, Argentina scored lower than the United States in science, math, and reading. However, Argentina has showed improvements in all 3 subjects compared to the United States, which saw a decrease in scores for all 3 subjects. This could be contributed to Argentina's Education Finance Law of 2006, which mandated an investment of at least 6% of GDP to the educational sector, as well as increasing the number of teachers in the country to lower the pupil-teacher ratio. Hofstede's breakdown of cultural dimensions has 6 categories. First, let's start with power distance. Argentina lies in the middle of the spectrum for power distance. To some degree, they accept a hierarchical order while still maintaining a degree of equality among subordinates and leaders, while the United States is more likely to prefer equality. Next up is individualism. Argentina is more likely to work together collectively as a group to accomplish goals as opposed to the United States, which emphasizes independence and self-reliance. Masculinity versus femininity. Society in Argentina, like the United States, lies more towards the masculinity side of the spectrum. They have a preference for competition, achievement, and material rewards for success. Uncertainty avoidance. Society in Argentina is more likely to prefer standardization and detailed written instructions. They like to avoid risks as much as possible, unlike the United States, which are known for taking risks. Pragmatism is also referred to as long-term and short-term orientation. Both Argentina and the United States exhibit short-term orientation. These societies prefer to stick with traditions and don't trust changes. They are past and present oriented. Indulgence versus restraint. Argentinians, like Americans, lean more towards indulgence as opposed to having restraint. They like to fulfill their natural drives by going out and having fun.
The technological context of Argentina. Argentina's poor innovative environment is a result of volatile economic policy, inflation, tax laws, and political climate change. The country invests relatively low in research and development, spending only about a third of the amount of the G20 average. The production of scientific and technical journal articles has remained stagnant in recent history compared to the US, and Argentina has a low number of researchers. Patent applications by Argentine residents remains low, with little to no increase in new innovation in the last 2 decades.
Moving on to environmental aspects.
Argentina is the 8th largest country in the world by area. Over such a large spread of variety of altitudes, Argentina is a diverse assortment of natural environments. Andes mountain ranges spread along the border of Argentina and Chile. Then to the east of the southern point of the Andes is the broad Patagonian flatlands. This is a large semi-desert plains filled by grasslands and shrubs. On the Environmental Performance Index, here compared with the United States, the higher the number, the better overall performance. On the Environmental Indicator Score for 2016, Argentina is much lower than the United States in the ranks. Argentina has been struggling with clean water and thus losing forest and wetlands. A major port for the country is Rio de Plata is the prime location for clean water supply in and around Buenos Aires.
Now, let's take a minute to discuss the legal environment in Argentina, the last section on our PESTEL model. Argentina is a civil law country with a court structure similar to the United States, with municipal courts appealing up to a national Supreme Court. Judges, not juries, are called upon to interpret the new civil code adopted in 2015. Additionally, legal decisions are based on the Constitution, treaties, and enacted laws and executive resolutions, not by juries. So how does the system compare globally? The legal system in Argentina, as compared to the United States, is relatively stable, with scores based on the International Property Rights Index remaining above average globally, with high marks in patent protection and political stability, although lagging a bit in judicial independence.
Argentina SWOT analysis. Regarding business in Argentina, it is important to consider strengths such as the abundance of natural resources and productive agricultural and manufacturing sectors. Weaknesses include recurring economic crises, a high corruption ranking, and weak rule of law. Renewable energy and low barriers to FDI entry are considerable opportunities. Threats include heavy levels of inflation, corrupt business practices, and constant political pressures. We thank you for watching our PESTEL of Argentina.